Very well. If you are a young person or engaging in MSME, micro, small and medium enterprise, then this is the show for you. As I had alluded to earlier, is that we will be hosting the PS State Department for MSME, Madam Honorable Susan Mangeni. And allow me to delve straight into the discussion for this morning. Remember, we are live on our social media platform. Comments, suggestions or questions, or even where you are watching us from, we highly recommend. Madam Susan Mangeni, karibu sana studio.
Asante.
First things first, what is the status of MSMEs in the country right now? I know the head of state is very passionate about MSMEs.
Yeah, maybe we may want to begin by appreciating the role of MSME in our economy. We are an economy that is heavily driven by MSME. And if you look at even jobs that we have, most jobs are MSME created. And unfortunately, though, we've not been having a strong focus on them, on developing MSME, that is to increase their capacity, promote their productivity, competitiveness and profitability. And I will say that we have really exploited the capacity of MSME to contribute significantly to the economic growth in this country. I will say, if you look at the architecture of our economy in this country, is that most small businesses, or rather most businesses in this country, are MSME. And out of those MSMEs, majority of them, more than actually 60% are informal. They are found in the first M, that is the micro. And even with that kind of status, or rather configuration, is that our economy still highly depends on them. And that's why I think with this current administration is that our president has really acknowledged the important role that MSME plays in an economy. There are very many parts of this world, where, especially developed world, where MSME are the ones who are on the steering wheel, like most European countries, most Asian countries, is that when you put a focus on MSME and they're able to exploit their full capacity, then they will grow the economy. So I think that's what the head of state, in trying to reorganize our economy and promote economic growth, is placing a lot of emphasis on MSME support, MSME development support. Yes.
Is it more or less? I've seen in China, the economy of China has been quite transformed by cottage industries. Is this the same case that we are now trying to do?
It is the same case, because once you appreciate that the nature of our business and is at micro, is MSME, then you look at the interventions that can meet their needs actually down there. So like in China, is cottage industry, is the same thing we are saying. And when I talk about micro, I mean these are people who or businesses that do not have capacity to produce on large scale. However, it doesn't mean they don't have skills. They can have skills. Again, they may not have collaterals. They may not have the necessary networks that can link them to sustainable markets. But even in that minute setup of them, if they are brought together, they are aggregated in numbers, then they will achieve that necessary bargaining power, that is to access financing and also to access sustainable markets. For example, if you are an MSME who is dealing, like let's say you are a cobbler, like our young brother there who was on the screen a few minutes ago.
Yes.
You know, yes, there is a huge market for shoes in this country, like it has been observed. But if you're one, you may not have the capacity to meet the demand. But if we see an opportunity there in shoemaking, in that leather value chain sector, and build the capacity of as many MSMEs or persons who will be interested there, give them access to financing, give them common user facilities for shoemaking, and also make sure that they can also now generate volumes which can meet the demand in the market, then that particular MSME will be competitive because of the aggregation. So once we appreciate that majority of MSMEs are micro, then we invest then in strategies and interventions that will build their capacity, enhance their capacity to become productive and to become competitive in the market. And as they do that, also to earn a living. And you see, once they start raising revenues that can enable them to earn a living, they will also become consumers. Yes. They will also go beyond from what they consume every day and also buy in the market and balance the market forces of demand and supplies, and in a way contribute to the growth of economy, of course, through various revenues and taxes, VATs, which will be now applicable in that consumption chain. But also significantly, we will expand the tax base, and this is how now the people at the top of the economic pyramid will be eased in terms of now shouldering the burden of those who are at the bottom of the economic pyramid.
Yeah, but we have seen statistics that show that a lot of micro enterprises that mushroom, they shrivel up within 2 years. As a ministry, what are you doing to mitigate this? Because at the end of the day, we need these MSMEs to spur growth, just as you said.
Yes. So what we are doing as first and foremost, we must, of course, as a nation, we must commend His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for first of all having thought it twice to have a state department that places more focus on the MSME development in this country. Because what then that one has achieved is bridging the coordination gaps that has been existing in this sector. MSMEs are private sector. So, and I mean the government, any government in any economy in the world exists to facilitate the growth and productivity of the private sector. Because
apologies, just a minute, we need to rectify your microphone.
Okay.
But just in case you joined us, this is KBC News Tech, where we are looking at the state of MSMEs in the country. Well, you do know very well that President William Ruto has talked about spurring growth, and even during his campaign, he talked about MSMEs being the way to go. And another thing that he mentioned is value addition. Value addition, just like you saw in that feature that we carried, small businesses trying to make or to make a living. And as the PS talks about, is that they want this to spur the economic growth of the country. And also we are also keeping tabs with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who is in Nyali, Mombasa. Well, we have a launch of fishing boats and security app financed by the EU. It is a collaboration of the Kenyan government and the European Union to advance the blue economy agenda through coastal development, which we are calling Go Blue, Italian cooperation components. If you have any questions, suggestions in regards to the MSMEs, all right, I'm informed that we are ready for that function. Let's first of all cross over. We will be back with this.
I want to welcome you all here today on this occasion as the Governor of Kilifi County, as well as the Chair of the Jubuya County Pwani Economic.
Apologies, we do see
enhancing the livelihoods of coastal communities in the blue economy sector. I also want to thank the Italian Agents for Development Cooperation, whose effort in implementing their component of the Go Blue fisheries value chain has made this event possible today. These 26 boats will bring together small-scale fishermen from Nyali, Shimoni, Kibuyuni, Mukwiro, Mutwapa, Uyombo, Kipini, Amu, Mukwajamali fishing areas along the coast strip. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the other Go Blue implementing partners, GIZ, Portuguese Commons, UN Habitat, and UNEP. Expertise, funds for the interventions in skills development, tourism development, land sea planning, and maritime security governance, respectively. I may also acknowledge Jumuiya ya Kaunti za Pwani for playing a critical role in the coordination of the Go Blue project. The Go Blue project is a clear demonstration of the EU's commitment to support and complement the government of Kenya efforts in promoting sustainable fishing practices, lifting the economic and social development of the coastal people, and protecting the marine environment and resources. Small-scale fishing is a critical economic activity in our region, providing a source of livelihood to thousands of families. It is important to note that this sector is vulnerable to a number of challenges, including overfishing, illegal fishing practices, and climate change. The provision of these boats will go a long way in addressing some of these challenges by enabling our fishermen to access fishing grounds that were previously out of reach, and also increase the number of fishermen having access to own boats, thus improving standards of living. I urge our fishermen to make good use of these boats and to work closely with their respective BMUs and the executives with the support of our county fisheries officers to ensure access to boat management scheme with the purpose of saving money in a dedicated savings account. This will ensure BMUs buy new boats to continually increase their capacities for every fisherman to go fishing. BMUs are also expected to play a critical role of ensuring that our marine resources are protected for the benefit of our current and future generations. Let us all commit to promoting sustainable fishing practices, protecting our marine ecosystems, and ensuring that our small-scale fishing communities can thrive. Through the support of our partners in the Go Blue project, we have been able to strengthen the capacity of our BMUs to carry out their mandates according to the Fisheries Management and Development Act of 2016. This includes providing training and technical support to enable them to monitor fishing activities and promote responsible fishing practices. I am aware that expertise France has worked closely with Kenya Coast Guard services to equip the fishermen with sea survival skills and even donated watertight phone pockets, life jackets, and the coastal light application that will complement government efforts in monitoring activities at sea and report illegal activities for quick response by national agencies. From our side, as county governments, we commit to ensure the sustainability and continuity of the Go Blue project initiatives and invite future partnerships and collaborations with other European member states through blended finance to advance new projects in the blue economy sector. Finally, I would like to thank all the stakeholders who have been involved in the implementation of this project. Your dedication and hard work have made this project a success, and we look forward to a continued collaboration as we work towards the common goal of improving the lives of our coastal communities. Once again, I would like to welcome you all to this event and thank you for your presence. Asante sana.
The one who dressed for the occasion, Your Excellency, the Governor for Lamu, knew today we're in a blue economy issues, and as the Council of Governors chair on blue economy, he wore blue and he's ever blue. Karibu.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Salim Buria, the CS, Madam PS, Your Excellency, the governors present here, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors who are present here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, I'm here in two capacities, as the Governor of Lamu County and also as the Chair of the Blue Economy Committee of the Council of Governors. I am pleased to join you today for this special ceremony on the donation of fully equipped fishing boats to the 6 coastal counties. Let me begin by commending all the partners involved in the Go Blue project. This is the EU, the GIZ, Italian Agency for Development Cooperation, Expertise France, LP of Portugal, UNEP, and UN Habitat. For sure, this project objective in building a transformative and sustainable fisheries sector in the Jumuiya of the counties, the Pwani member counties, is indeed being realized. It is my observation that the project has positioned the coastal counties to advanced opportunity in the blue economy agenda and enhance the capacity of the counties to sustainably utilize the coastal and marine resources for socio-economic development. This is in line with Jumuiya, the counties of Pwani long-term development blueprint, Jumuiya 2030, as well as the individual county integrated development plans. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, the coastal communities depend on fishing and fisheries economy and related activities. In fact, fisheries in Lamu County, fishing and fisheries activities account for over 70% of household income in Lamu East, Lamu Island, and the adjacent fishing villages inhabiting the shorelines in Lamu West sub-county.
That is the launch of the Fishing Boats and Security App, a project by the European Union and the Kenyan government. Live from Kilifi County, they are making their opening statements. We've had the Issa Timami, who is on your screen, who is the Lamu governor. Earlier on, we had Mombasa governor, and earlier on, we had Kilifi governor Gideon Mungaro. We will be getting to that function a little bit later. We are expecting the deputy president to be also making his key state address in regards to that. Coming to you, Madam PS, from what we've heard from the opening remarks of Gideon Mungaro, why is it a huge potential, the blue economy tying to MSMEs?
Yeah, there exists a very huge potential in terms of enterprises for MSME. And by the way, let me also try to correct the notion that when we talk about MSME, we only meet them in the middle of the value chain. And this I mean, if you're talking about a value chain, you look at it from the downstream, which is now production level, up to you have then the middle, which requires the value addition, and the upstream, which is about the market, the market. So in that whole chain, there exist opportunities for each and for MSMEs in each and every level of the value chain. Now, we know we have farmers, fishermen, for example, in this particular sector of the economy. Those fishermen are MSMEs actually. So that's why, they are MSMEs. So MSMEs are fishermen, MSMEs are also farmers. It's about enterprising a way of life and any income generating activities or opportunities that surrounds us. So if you are in the blue economy areas, like for example, if you reside, those communities that reside along the lake, along the rivers, along the ocean, I mean, those communities are micro. They don't have capacity, for example, to fish on the large scale. They may not have collaterals to access financing, but remember, they have a culture and a practice, and there is an opportunity for that kind of economic activity there. So how do we come in? We come in by developing the viable enterprises across that whole value chain. There is the actual fishing. They require fishing gears. They require the boats. But again, also they require knowledge and skills to know which kind of fish are they pulling out of water. Then from there, they require also skills to do value addition and the machinery that can facilitate them to do value addition. For example, if you are descaling the fish and packing, filleting the fish and packing for export. Those are skills and technology that they may not be having at the moment. So how do we come in? Once we appreciate that there is an opportunity there because there is a market, especially the export market. By the way, when it comes to fish, for example, the fish, the fish we eat in this country, we don't produce enough. Most of it we have to rely to imports from outside Kenya to kind of try and satisfy the demand that we have in this country. But if we were sensitize our farmers, organize them in formidable entities, give them the necessary skills, give them the financing, and also help them access common user facilities like those now, the machine I'm talking about for filleting and stuff, they will gain that competitiveness that can enable them now access and sustain even export market, even if not the local market. So that's one of the sector that actually we are looking keenly into and see now how do we organize communities around those regions to venture competitively in that particular value chain. But before that break, you remember I was just appreciating why we have this State Department, and what really this State Department exists to do is that first of all to bring on board that coordination element of all the actors in the ecosystem, the MSMEs ecosystem, from the financiers to the market to the key actors like the MSME themselves who are there, and also see how they can appreciate or even get to know that an opportunity exists here. We've had farmers sometimes who will tell you they've been encouraged, for example, and even given support to do fish caging. For example, if you look at the Lake Victoria region, but they don't have a market. When they harvest, there is no clear linkage to the market, so they end up selling them either at a low cost price because they fear if they were to continue keeping them, either those fish will over mature and start going bad, and they don't have even maybe cold storage facilities. So we come in to complete the value chain by bringing on board all actors and making sure that all actors appreciate who is doing what and what are opportunities to leverage on. Now, you talked about the high informality and what you're trying to do. Number one, you cannot be supported if we do not know you exist. What has been happening with our MSME is that we appreciate what they've been doing. They are doing, because you see that's part of the survival, but to scaling it up requires some deliberate or rather added efforts. Someone must know you exist, must know the nature of your business, and must know which opportunities exist there and connect you or link you up to those opportunities. So now with this new State Department, we are able to centralize a database and segment it in according to the sector in which MSME are involved in, according to the region and other demographic factors. We know how many women are involved in this, and it will also help us to appreciate the level of intervention vis-a-vis the needs of the MSME. Sometimes we assume that our MSME, all they need is money. No. Sometimes they just need business support. Sometimes they just need to be told there is a market, and then they can work out the financing for themselves. For example, in my state department, we have WEZO Fund, we have equally Youth Enterprise Fund, of course we have Hustler Fund, we have KIE, Kenya Institute of Kenya Industrial Estate that does financing to MSME in the manufacturing sector. We have MSEA sometimes which gets opportunities for grants. But you know, if we do not know where these MSMEs are, you know, then you end up not serving the grassroots. I mean, giving them the appropriate intervention at any required time. So there was a time a member of parliament from the northern part of this country approached me and was saying, you know, in my constituency, I have this much money in terms of the UWEZO fund, and the people are not coming forward to take it. And so after some time, I told him, your people probably, they don't need financing. Maybe they need a market. Maybe they need you to tell them the value chain, to promote a value chain that is akin to them, which they can appreciate. For example, if you are coming from the northeastern part of this country, you know very well that they invest so much, even culturally, in livestock. This is what they know. This is what they've grown up knowing. They know how to tender for the livestock, for goats, so why can't we then create an enterprise from that economic activity? So what they need to know is to tell them, they don't need money, for example, to do textile, I'm just saying, but they will need money to, like, let's say, set up the feedlot, you know, the animal feedlot, so that during, let's say, the drought season, they know there will be an opportunity where a community now will bring their cows and their goats, their livestock, and offload them there. They need such enterprises, and you need to tell them there is a market for that, where maybe they can venture into slaughterhouses where they can be slaughtering those livestock, and then also using quality machinery and technology, so that the skins and the hides which are slaughtered there from the livestock that is slaughtered there can be preserved better and you know, taken to the tannery. So you need to give people a business idea, or help them on board a business idea that is commensurate to their culture, to their practice, to their skills. They may not need money, by the way. They may just need to show us where there's a market for livestock, and we are in business, so that we now encourage what we call market-driven financing, market-driven businesses, as opposed to so-and-so is doing a business, I can also do a business without caring for the market. So what my ministry is doing is that for any interventions that are done, especially the financing from our agencies, the one which I've mentioned, Youth Fund, WEZO Fund, is that we will not develop a financial product if we have not worked out on the market. We need to know in that particular location of this country what value chains are prominent, what value chain have high profitability, and then we work now backward by now mobilizing MSMEs around that area. If the women, youth, and any other persons of the society, put them into groups, tell them even how they can register, and so that they acquire capacity to exploit that business opportunity.
Yeah, and it's a good thing they've talked about the interventions that your ministry is doing. Yeah. Let's now look at how MSMEs are changing the lives of those who have embraced it, and more specifically, the Mama Mboga and the Boda Boda guy who have been able to access the Hustler Fund.
Yeah, MSMEs, first and foremost, are changing not only their lives themselves, because the first benefit is to themselves as an MSME. Are you able to put food on the table? Yes, they're able to put food on the table. Can Mama Mboga sleep on an empty stomach? Probably no, because if worse come to us, we will sell mbogas and get some few mbogas to cook for the children. But you know, we need to see MSME growing. So like I've said, our economy is actually driven by MSME. And if you see that we are not doing well, it's only that we have not invested in enablers, given those MSME more enablers to enable them now grow their businesses. Let me pick a mama mboga, for example. Sometimes if you go across this country, you meet these scenarios where, and even you, maybe when you're growing up, there is that favorite mama mboga who your mom used to send you. You know, when you're in primary, go to mama nani to akukatia mboga, sindio? Yes. Kabanda kidogo. So then when you go to high school, you come back, it's the same mama mboga, kabanda kidogo. You go to university, same mama mboga. You start working here, same mama mboga, with that small capacity. Our MSMEs are very robust, but they're not growing. They're not competitive because they're not exploiting their full capacity due to various barriers like access to financing, access to sustainable markets, and lack of capacity also to meet the needs of the market. And also lack of even being guided that where do we have the viable business opportunities. So why is Hustler Fund there, for example? And you know, if you have an economy where majority of the people that you need to participate in the economy are experiencing such barriers, you have to find a way then of addressing the barriers. One of the barriers is access to financing. Why those MSME cannot access financing is that one, they're not even banked. I mean, most of them don't even have bank accounts. No financial institution knows them. Two, they don't have collateral system that can enable them. When you go to the bank and you're asking for credit, then you have a collateral. Three, the cost of credit in this country before this administration came up was way high. And because it was way high, people took advantage of the penetration of mobile technology and introduced digital lending. So you have predators now, they know there will always exist a need for financing at that level of the economy, the bottom of the economic pyramid, and you know we have numbers. So people came up with financial products which were so exploitative. And I remember when we were going around the country, and Mama Mboga will tell you that the cost of even accessing 200 bob is very exorbitant to an extent that if I'm given that 200 bob, there is nothing I'll be doing. Yes, even tomorrow you'll find me there, but I'm actually working for the shack because sometimes the 200 bob will cost even 10%. So on that day, and if you have any business that you are investing in capital of 200, 10% of interest for that particular day could actually be your profit. But in this case, you're using it to service your... So that's how now Hustler Fund came. So you see those Mama Mboga, they have demonstrated to us so far that they just need 500 bob, they need 1,000 bob, they need 3,000 bob to start off their day. And also because now we have kind of brought down the interest rates and it's 8% per annum through the Hustler Fund, these mamas are able to borrow that 200 bob, invest in mboga sukuma wiki, and they have something. Because now even the repayment period, I mean the interest is per annum. If I were to go to Kikomba with 200 bob or 500 bob, buy mbogas, come and sell, whatever I make up there, I'll calculate my markup. I know what to reinvest back to the business. So you start becoming sustainable in terms of your capital. But so what Hustler Fund did for those Mama Mbogas is that it has created for them an opportunity for them not to be, first of all, not to be exploited by the sharks. So they don't need to borrow digitally the way they were borrowing from other sharks who are charging them exorbitant. And now another opportunity is that now because of regular borrowing and repayment, they are building their financial score, their credit score. Now that credit score in the future will now launch them to the existing market. So they are going to transit from not being banked to being unbanked to being banked in the future, because as now you start increasing your revenue, you may need to bank your money and see how to invest. There is also an element in the hustler fund of savings, and these predators were not just doing predating on lending, they're also predating on saving, because you see MSME, there are people today, the market demand could be very high. I sell everything that I have, all my stock, I have money, I feel like I want to save, but I can't take 100 bob to go and line up in the bank. Through hustler fund, you can save. You have got flexibility, you borrow, you save, you can save voluntarily and be able to invest in your, reinvest back in your business to grow. So it's helping to bring them back to the economy by helping to nurture their credit worthiness, so that in future, once they gain trust, a credit score that can be trusted and acceptable in the market, they will be now at ease in accessing the financing from the credit market. The other bit that Hustler Fund is doing to them is that, of course, now the interest rate is 8% from the 10% per day, which will translate to about 360% per annum, which they used to be charged initially before it came in. The other bit that Hustler Fund is doing is that we appreciate the various shocks that makes MSME to go under and makes people to default even on the credits that they borrow, and therefore lowering their credit score. And one of the ways that affects our MSME, of course, is housing, is house rents. Today, even if you're a mama mboga, as we approach the end of the month and you do have no idea how you are going to pay your rent, you start worrying. If landlord will knock, you'll sell everything and take it to the landlord and wait again to get money, because there is no differentiation between your money and what you use for business money. So what we've done is that the government on the side has come up with projects like now affordable housing, and this housing scheme is for the MSME. We are telling MSME, we give you we come up with an intervention that can promote your little saving. You acquire a mortgage scheme in those affordable housing. You start paying little every day. You'll have your own housing for the next 15-20 years. You have your housing. If in future people want you to access credit which require collateral, housing, you already start building your security.
All right. And because of the interest of time, I would like to weigh in on this year's Madaraka Day celebrations will be in my home county of Embu, and the theme is on SMEs. Can you kindly touch on that as we wrap up?
The theme is on MSME, not SME.
MSME, yes, MSME.
Yes, you know, this year we will be, as a country, rather as a nation, we'll be observing 60 years of self-determination rule of, or rather, if you want, of self-governance. And at the onset of the independence, we said as a nation that we wanted to govern ourselves, determine our, look at how we can preside over, like for example, the end of poverty, preside over, manage diseases, manage illiteracy that was happening. So we needed to self-determine ourselves. We are showing the world that we have got all it takes to rule ourselves and preside over economic development, preside over political freedom, govern ourselves and determine our future. But so it gives us an opportunity as a country 60 years down the line to take stock, one, of our achievement. And of course, you can see in terms of political, progress we have, okay? In terms of illiteracy, we have overcome it. Because most of our population...
we are running out of time.
Yeah, because you also took my time, so allow me also to eat your time, right? I waited for almost 20 minutes for that, so it's good also to give me, to be fair.
All right.
To be fair with me. So now, in just trying to look at so far how we have progressed as a nation, we can say the greatest challenge that we have out of those critical issues that we said we were going to rule ourselves and come up with ways and approaches of overcoming as a nation, the illiteracy, the disease, and the poverty. We can say we are struggling so much on poverty. And this one speaks about economic development, or rather economic independence. And we have said here that there is no way we are going to grow our economy if we don't place renewed focus on MSME and give them enablers that can increase their competitiveness or enhance their competitiveness in the market. So this year is theme Madaraka Day, as we reflect upon the milestone that we have worked as a nation, is also focused on also celebrating the contribution of MSMEs, through trading and also cooperatives. So it is MSME, trade, cooperatives, and revenue. So if you see all that, what it says is just appreciating the significant contribution of MSMEs in growing this country through also revenue, because we want to see how, of course, they're contributing to revenue, and we see how then we can grow them, develop them, and make sure that we expand the tax net, as we say, to ease the burden at the top.
No. Yeah. Indeed, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to go to Mombasa for that event that is being presided over by Deputy President, and he's currently speaking. Let's first of all listen in.
Today, Your Excellencies, in transferring Joint Operations Center to Kenya Coast Guard Service and stimulating the Light Coastal app launch of 19 fishing boats supported by the European Union under the Go Blue project. It is an important development since April 19th, when we flagged off the first batch of 8 in Kwale. With this project, we unlock the potential of large sea opportunities in coastal urban centers for sustainable and inclusive economic growth. This will result in creation of employment while conserving and sustainably using the coastal and marine environment, as well as promoting effective and integrated maritime governance. Your Excellencies, I take note that some of the key activities in the project, this project is undertaking are aimed at accelerating sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic urban coastal growth. This is an important component in job creation, especially for the youth and women, through skills and value chain development. This is by enhancing maritime governance through integrated and effective law enforcement. It will contribute to the regional and global security and create a favorable environment for economic development. Your Excellencies, the government appreciates these initiatives because it will also deepen the relationship between the coastal communities and maritime law enforcement actors. Further, we welcome the innovative security app, the Light Coastal app, Usalama Baharini, Kenya, developed by the Kenya Coast Guard Service in collaboration with Expertise France and Climario project. It will ease the exchange of information and coordination at regional level. We are determined to ensure that the blue economy contributes to the realization of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. In conclusion, I recognize the immense support by the political leadership of the Coast region for this project and other blue economy growth initiatives. It is our collective responsibility to ensure successful implementation. Your Excellencies, I want to take this opportunity to affirm and appreciate the 6 governors of the Coast region for their active participation in the implementation of projects within the blue economy sector. I also want to salute their leadership for accepting that though we may have come in through different political formations, elections are over, and this is a time to work and serve the people who elected us. Your Excellencies, President William Ruto and I have made a conscious decision to embrace devolution in totality and to work very closely with the county governments to realize faster economic growth. And I really want to say that here in the coastal region, we have very good working relationship with all the 6 county governments, and that to a great extent is responsible for the economic growth that is taking place in this region. So governors, once more, I want to assure you of the support of the President and I, and indeed the rest of the national government, to support devolution, to support your activities, so that we all work together because we serve the same people. Let me take this opportunity to applaud the European Union and all the ambassadors present and those who are not here for the great support you are according to our country and to our people. We don't take it for granted. These initiatives here at the coast and the rest of Kenya are improving lives. And I want to say that the blue economy space is very critical in our national development. As we struggle with mitigating the effects of climate change, the government and our partners must come up with other initiatives that are not subject to the effects of climate change, and hence creating a lot of time and effort on the blue economy sector. So I really want to thank our development partners and assure you of our cooperation. Any time will be available so that we can be able to make progress together. Governor Mombasa, I've heard you about the challenges that you have with the Ministry of Lands. As I've told you, I want to invite you to come to Nairobi when you get time, and I'll be able to call all the stakeholders for a roundtable meeting so that we can unlock all the issues that are slowing down your pace. We don't want to slow you down. In fact, we want to encourage you to keep up the pace of President William Ruto, which is a very fast pace. So it is my business on behalf of the President to make sure that nobody is slowed down. So any government ministry or state agency that is slowing down, please come and report them to me. I'll call them, we'll have a sit down, and we'll agree that we need to let everybody move, because this country needs a fast move. It needs a fast pace, because we need to catch up with the many challenges that we have. So again, wangwana wa pwani, tunashukuru sana kuwa hapa. Huyu muungwana Salim Mvurya ananikaza sana kuja hapa kila wakati. Ananisukuma na ni mzuri, si kwa ubaya. Pia mimi nafurahia kuwa hapa tusukume gurudumu la maendeleo. Na ndio pia tujuane zaidi na tutengeneze urafiki. Kwa sababu najua pale nyuma mlikuwa mnachenga sisi kidogo. Lakini sasa mimi nitakaa hapa mpaka tuingiane, tutembee safari moja, so that tukifika pale mbele tukue watu moja, kwa sababu ni muhimu kupanga huko mbele na kupanga maneno yetu ya kwamba sisi katika serikali kuu na nyinyi nyote hapa tunatembea pamoja. And you know, the Coast Region is a great beneficiary of the new administration, the Ruto administration, because you know the first economic intervention President William Ruto made on his ascendancy to the presidency was to restore the port of Mombasa that had been taken away. We therefore want to say that we care for this region. We are aligned to your aspirations. We are aligned to your challenges. And together we shall make progress for the benefit not only of the people of the Coast Region, but the people of Kenya. And the contribution of the Coast Region to the overall economic transformation of this country cannot be overemphasized. And matters blue is what is going to help our country. And therefore we shall spend time and resources in the Coast Region again and again. So Waziri, when you have something else, please call me. Governor Lam, you have said you'll call me for something, I'll come. Governor, the tall guy, we want to know what fertilizer they put on you for that hate. will come to Kilifi, and we are more than willing to come and work here, as we also enjoy the tourism facilities that are within this great region. Kwa hayo mengi na machache, asanteni sana. Mungu awabariki. Thank you very much.